Hi everyone. In this video I'll be showing you how to post and update data in MongoDB by using Node.js and Postman. So let's get started. So first thing, let me just go and create a folder over here. So new folder, let me name it as NMP, okay? Something Node, Mongo and Postman. So that's it, that's the folder name, and I will just go to Visual Studio Code and just open that folder. So it's file, open folder. C project nmp and select folder. So this is our folder opened over here. So just click it and let's just name main.js. Okay, so this is going to be our only JS file that we are going to use, and now we are good to go. We need to install two packages. Okay, one is Express and another one is Mongoose. Okay, so for that what we need to do is we need to just right click it and just click this open in integrated terminal, so which automatically gives the terminal to this path itself, okay, this folder itself. So as I told you earlier, we need Express and Mongoose. So just do npm I Express space Mongoose, okay, and hit enter. Just wait till it gets downloaded. So once our packages has been installed, we are now good to code. Okay, so let's get started. So first is we need to import Express and Mongoose, just a default code over here. So it's going to be const express equal to require express, okay, within double quotes, and next is const app equal to express. Okay. That's it, we are done with express. Now we need to include Mongoose, so it's going to be const Mongoose equal to require Mongoose within double quotes, and here we also need to include app dot use express dot json. Okay, as we will be passing JSON data in the form of JSON, we need to include this particular line over here. And next is the important line. We will be making our connection with our MongoDB. Okay, so in the next line it's going to be mongoose dot, so this mongoose corresponds to this variable name. Okay, mongoose dot connect, and here we'll be specifying the URL. Okay, URL or the path in which your database is present. So since we are using local host, okay, local MongoDB, we will be putting MongoDB :// local host : then it's going to be the port number, which is 27017 / and here you can specify the database name. So it can be existing database or you can just create your own new database. So I will put my new DB as my database name. Out of this double quotes, just put a comma and a curly bracket. Okay, and here you will be putting use in as cap new u as cap URL parser as true. Okay, so in case if you get any warnings, to avoid that you can just put this. And next one is use unified topology, same true for it as well. So it's parser left R, so it's R. And after doing this, just come to this curly bracket end and just put a comma over there. Let's just display a message if we are connected and if we aren't connected as well. So let's just catch that error. So error and just an arrow function over here. So if there isn't any error, that is the error is null, which means that we have been successfully connected to our database. So in case that we can just console log connected to DB. Okay, this will be the message when we aren't having any error. And let's suppose say that we are having any error, that means the else block will be executed. So let's just copy this and paste it, and let's put error. That's it. So this is the connection over here connecting our database. Smooth this. So next is let's just start our server. Okay, then we can just do the rest of stuff. Okay, so it's going to be app dot listen. The port, I will keep the port as 3000. and just an arrow function over here, and I will just console log on port 3000. Just save it. Okay, I think we are good to go. Just have a comment over here, db connection. Okay, save it now, and let's just go to the terminal, and it's going to be node your file name.js. My file name is main. We'll just hit enter over here. So now we are getting on port 3000, and we are also getting connected to db, which means that there isn't any error. So our error is null. So this is getting displayed. That's really well and good. Let's just stop this, Control C, and now let's just create the schema. Okay, schema for our MongoDB database. So I will just type in the entire thing in the same file. Okay, it's just going to be like 20 lines of code. I don't want to have like multiple number of files and like make it really confusing. I will just keep it as simple as possible. So here we're just going to create the schema. Okay, and it's going to be const sch be my schema name. Okay, and I will be having just two values. Okay, let's say I will have a name. This is going to be of data type string, and I will also have the email. Okay, just as demo purpose, I will just have an email that is also going to be of type string as well. So in case like if you also want an ID going to be of type number, just hit number over here. Okay, so once you have done with our schema, you need to just attach your schema with the mongoose model. So it's going to be const mongoose model, okay, equal to mongoose, that is this variable name over here, this name that you have specified, that's this variable name, mongoose dot, you have to put model, and here you need to pass the collection name. Collection name is like the table name that you are going to have in your MongoDB database. So collection is nothing but a table. Like in SQL we call it as table, and in MongoDB we call it as connection. So be really careful over there. I will name my table or collection name as new call something, and next you will just put a comma, and here you will pass this schema name. So it's going to be sch over here. So that's it. We are done with our schema, and we are also done with our model over here. So next thing is we need to just create a post request. Okay, code for the post request. So it's going to be, I'll just put post route. You can say it as post route or post route, and here we are not going to use any router. We're just going to make use with the help of app.post itself. So app dot means this app, okay, this name that you have specified over here. So it's going to be app.post. Okay, there are actually many requests: port, post, delete, get, but here we're just going to like push data or input data. So here we're just going to use post, and here we'll pass the URL. Okay, so it's going to be for me just post. So this will be like local host and colon port number slash post. So that's going to be the entire URL for this, and it's just put a comma outside the double quotes. It's going to be async, and we'll just have a bracket, and inside that we will have the request and response, and just put an arrow function over here inside this. So everything should be like inside this, enclosed within this app.post itself. So after this, what we'll do is we'll just have a console. Okay, console.log, and we'll just pass a message inside post function. Okay, just as a notification whether this particular app.post is getting called or not. So just to verify that. And next thing what we will do is we'll just have a variable, okay, data. So this const data is used to extract the data that we are passing to this URL. Okay, so we are going to post data, so we need to have some input. So that input we are going to feed it with the help of Postman. Okay, so with this help of this URL, we will be entering this localhost slash post URL over here, and we will also enter this key value pair. So this is where we are going to get the input. So our input will be sent to this like URL, and the data that is posted over here will be collected in this variable data. Okay, so how we are going to do that is we are just going to have a new, and we are going to use this mon model. Okay, this thing that's just a model, mongoose model. And what we will do is open circular bracket and a curly bracket over here, and it's going to be name dot, so name corresponds to this variable name over here. Okay, so it's going to be name req dot body dot name. Okay, so req refers to this one. Okay, you just highlight this, okay, and just put a comma, and it's going to be email req dot body dot email. Okay, email corresponds to this thing, another variable. Okay, And next thing, we also have ID, so it should be ID. Just copy paste this stuff over here, copy and paste it, just have it as an ID. Okay, all this data will come from this Postman. We will be just pushing all this data from here and we'll get to this URL, and by using this method we will just segregate and store it as name, email and ID. So this things request.body corresponds to JSON body that we are sending it from our Postman. So once all these values are getting stored in our data, we need to just store this data in our MongoDB collection. So for that, what we will do is just come over here, const val, okay, this is something, a shortcut for value, equal to await data. Data corresponds to this data, okay, it consists of our name, email and ID, data dot save. So this line of code basically saves the data, that is our name, email and ID, that is passed from our Postman, and it just saves it in our collection. Okay, and next thing is response. We will just send this data. Okay, response dot JSON, you will just send val. So val will also contain the same data that is present in our data variable, and response data means this will send back to our Postman. It's just considered as a message. Okay, we are sending data from our Postman to this URL and just getting stored in our MongoDB database. After all it's done, the same data will be sent back to our Postman again as a response. So that's what this response.json value means. Okay, over here I think we are good to go. Okay, so this is post, we have done with our data, everything. We have done our schema model. So let me just now save it and we just run it again. Okay, node, and I hope it works. So we are on port 3000 and we are also connected to database, and I will just now go to database and check whether we are having a database named it's my new DB. Okay, so if I just go to over here and if I just refresh it, so as you can see here we are getting a my new DB over here, and just click here, I am having a collection. So this is the collection name that I told you earlier, that's similar to a table in MongoDB. So it's named as new calls, and how we are getting the name is that it's from here, new call. I specified it as new call. It will automatically add a yes to it at the end. Okay, so that's by default. So now our database and our collection has been like created over here. So next, the final thing, we need to post data. Okay, so we will be using Postman. Okay, like I guess you know this tool. So what you do is you just close it. Okay, so just go to this plus icon over here, open it, and here you need to enter the URL. So it's going to be http:// I am already having like auto complete over here. So this is like the URL that we are having over here. So it's http. Okay, if you do http, yes, I think you will be getting an error. Do http:// you'll be really careful over here, and this 3000 is corresponding to this 3000. Okay, if you have given some other value here, make sure that you change over here as well. So it's going to be /post, and this /post is this URL. Okay, so corresponding, you'll make use of this post function. Okay, so here we need to pass 3 values. Okay, so it's going to be a post request. So we'll just go here and put post and just go to body. We'll be not having any space to input, so you need to go to raw, and instead of text you need to change it as JSON, because we are going to input in the form of JSON. Okay, so I know you know the JSON structure. It's going to be like a key value pairs. So I think our first name is name, email and ID. So it's going to be name colon and ABC. I will just have the name as ABC. And another important thing is that your name, email, like the key should also be within double quotes. Okay, name, email. I will just put abc at abc.com, comma, and our ID colon, let's say 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, since our ID is of number type, there isn't any requirement of double quotes, but ABC, these are of type string, cause we have specified over it as string over here. So that's good, I guess. So let me just now send. Okay, so we are having 3 values. So if we just put send, so we are getting this back. Okay, so that's the thing I told you earlier. We are sending it and we are getting this as a response back. So the reason why we are getting the same value, but we are also having an ID as well as a version. This is called as version, I guess, as 0 because of this single line. Okay, yeah, I will explain to you later. Okay, first let's check whether we have got our value. Okay, so now I will just go to our MongoDB, and this is our collection new calls. If I just now hit refresh, I'll be getting these values ABC, ABC at abc.com and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's absolutely fine. We have just posted data in our MongoDB, and coming back to the response, okay, and we will be having like two additional, additional key, okay. We are having ID and we just passed these three over here. This ID is like a primary key. What do you call in SQL? It's called the primary key, which is like uniquely used to identify a particular row, okay. So this ID is automatically generated by MongoDB, and this version v is like obviously also auto generated. You can also like have some code to avoid this as well. You can try that as well, and we are getting this as a response back to our Postman, okay, and that is because of this line, okay. This, as I told you, response.json that val is because this val will contain all these entire thing, okay. And let's suppose say that we don't want to send that JSON, we can send something as well, like response.send and just put posted, okay. Save it, and you can also see that inside post function, that's because this function has been like called by this Postman. We are just calling, it's like function call itself, we are just making use of this function. So that's why I'm getting this inside post function, okay. So let me just now stop it, Control C, okay, to stop, and I'll just run it again. So this time I will just post some other data. I will put only AB over here, and one, just send it. So this time I'm getting posted, okay, and the reason is obviously I think you know, because I'm just change this like from rest.json to I'm sending it now rest.send posted. And if I just now go to my MongoDB and if I just refresh it, I will be getting the new value over here. And now let's jump into our update, okay. So first I will just go over here and I will put operation over here. So it's going to be like a very similar code, okay, but the difference is that here we will be pushing all the data in the request body itself, but in the put or the update operation we will be getting that ID through the params, okay, through this parameter, okay. I will also show that to you, okay. So first let's begin with the code, okay. It's going to be app.put, okay, and next is our URL over here, okay. So it's going to be, I'll just put /update/ and next thing, as I told you earlier, we will be getting the ID in the form of a parameter from the URL itself. So it's going to be :ID. So we will be, with the help of this ID, we will be updating the particular data, okay. And it's going to be comma async, and the regular thing it's going to be request comma response over here, and arrow function and a curly bracket, okay. That's it. So next thing, we need to have access to this ID value, okay, but here we use request.body to get the value, and here you will be using request.params, okay. So let me just put, let my updating ID, I'll just call it as UPID over here, equal to request.params. We will be having this params which directly corresponds to this fetching value from this URL dot ID. So this ID corresponds to this one over here. That's why I've given a colon, which means that we can access it through this params keyword. So it's going to be like this. So I will just copy this and I will just go to my Postman, and if I just go to put, okay, and instead of /post we will be putting /update, and here we will pass some ID. Let's say it is going to be 1, and in the JSON we will be not passing our ID, okay, because we are getting the ID from our URL itself. So we need to pass ID over here. So I will just remove this. We will be passing the name and email which is to be updated, and we will be passing the ID of that particular name and email in the parameter, okay. Really simple, I guess. So now we need to also have this name and email value, right? So for that, what we will do is just copy this, paste it, and instead of this up ID, I will put update name, and instead of this params, it's going to be body, and for ID, it's going to be name, okay. So just copy this, paste it over here. It's going to be up email, and here I will be putting email. And the really important thing over is that here I am using params and here I am using body. So this is quite similar to the post operation where I have used body as well. So I think the reason is obvious. This params corresponds to this URL and this corresponds to the request body. So that's why I am fetching the ID from the URL and I am getting the name and email from the body. So that's the reason why I am using params and body over here. So now let's just jump into the main update operation, okay. So for updating anything, we will be having like two steps, okay. The first one is going to be, we need to find that particular ID. We need to first check whether that particular data that we are trying to update is like initially present, and the second operation is obvious, just update it. Okay, so these are the two things that everyone does, but we can do the two things with the help of a single function itself. The function name is find one and update. Okay, so for that, first what you need to have is you need to have the model name. Okay, so this is the model that I have created over here. It's mon model. Okay, so you need to have that model name. So just copy your model name and just come inside this function, paste it, dot, you need to have find one and update. So this is the function over here, just click it. So this will take like I guess 4 parameters or 4 arguments. Really, you need to be really careful over here. So the first argument is going to be the ID for which we want to update the data. So it's going to be just open curly bracket and just pass ID colon and up ID. Okay, so basically this ID corresponds to the value, this ID, okay, corresponds to this ID, and this up ID corresponds to the ID that we are passing as the parameter over here. Okay, I hope that made sense. And this is going to be the first parameter, and the next parameter is going to contain all the values that we want to change or update. So next thing is going to be again open curly bracket dollar set colon open curly bracket. Next thing is going to be name colon up name comma email colon up email. Okay, this name and email corresponds to the key present in this database, and this up name and up email, it's obvious, it's the data that we are passing from our Postman. Okay, this is going to be our second argument, and you have to be careful to just come out of it, put a comma over here, and you're going to put new colon true. Okay, I will explain you to this why we are putting new colon at the end. Okay, so now just put a comma over here and open circular bracket. Here it's going to be error comma data. Okay, really simple. If any error is going to come, this error will catch that, and this is going to be our data. Okay, so after this, just arrow function and just open curly bracket. Okay, so if you can't view this, what I will do is I will just, okay, so this is going to be like a continuation from that. You can just also type it. So I think now it's perfectly visible over here. So now we are just going to have a simple if condition. Okay, and this function finds and updates. Okay, so it's basically performing 2 operations. So now let's have 2 conditions. Okay, our first condition is going to be, here I am having data of ID 1, 2 and 3. So what if I go to Postman and put 4, okay, update /4. So this 4 isn't going to be present in our database itself. So in that case, our data value will be null. Okay, so for that we will do if data equal to null. Okay, that is our ID isn't present. Okay, we will just put response dot send. We can just put nothing found. Okay, and our second condition is going to be obvious, if our ID is present and the data is also present. In that case, it will automatically update that particular value with the required name and email. So in that case, we will be putting a else operation, and we will put response dot send our data. So we will be viewing this data in the Postman. It will be coming over here. Okay, so that's the meaning for that. So now let's just run and test it out. Okay, I think we are pretty much done over here. Let's run and see it now. So I'm just saving it, and I'm just stopping it now and just restarting it again. So it's on port 3000. I will just go to my Postman, and first I will check what are the IDs that are present. So 4 is not present, like as I told you earlier. So now I will just put update 4 and let my name be something. Okay, I will just put let 1111 be my name and let it be my email. Okay, something. So I am putting 4. So we need to get response dot send nothing found should be present coming inside the console over here. So I will just send it now. So as you can see, I'm getting nothing found, which is absolutely right, and we are having this B. Okay, I will put A itself. So we are having this ID 1 and having name as A, email as a@a.com. So I will now just change this values. Okay, so for that, really simple, just go over here and put 1, and I will just pass this 1 itself for all. So I will just send it, and I'm getting this as a response over here. The reason is this line is being sent. It automatically updates it and sends the response, the data over here, and we are getting this over in our Postman. So now if I just go to my MongoDB, it will be the same, okay, but if I just refresh this, watch over here, just refresh it, I'll be having 111 over here. That's it. We have successfully performed our update operation. And another thing, as I wanted to mention, is that I told you I will explain you why we are putting this new true, right? So if I just put new as false, okay? I'm putting this new as false, okay, and I'm just saving it. I'll just stop it. So we got the updated data, right? We got the updated data in our Postman over here. So it was earlier A as the name and A at abc.com something, which are with the ID 1. But we are getting the updated value in the console of our Postman. So what if we wanted the existing data over here? So in place of 111, we wanted A and we wanted A at a.com, the existing value that was present before our updation operation. So in that case, we will be putting new as false over here. So now let me just restart it. Node put main. So same thing, it's running now. So now as you can see here, we are having this value, and I will just update the same thing. I will put 1 as the ID, and instead of all ones, I will put all 2s over here, all 2s over here as well. And now if I just send it, I will be getting the same data over here. So if I just send it now, so I'm getting the same data over here, but in my MongoDB database, if I just refresh it, it will be updated, but I'm still getting the old data. So I hope that made sense to you. If you put new equal to true over here, we will be getting the updated data as the response over here. And if you put new equal to false over here, we will be getting the data before updation, that is the old data or the previous data. Okay, I hope that that was clear to you. And now let me just put it to true. Okay, I'll just put it to true, and I will just stop this. And the final thing that we are left with, we didn't even use this error. Okay, it's really important to do error handling. So if I just put if error, and I will just have response.send. I will just put error, okay, and I will have a if block over else block over here, and just close it and put this entire if else block within that else block. Okay, so if you are getting error, we will be getting only this as a response, and this won't be even executed. So now I hope this works. I will just save it, and I will just run it again, and I will just go over here. So I'll just put the same thing. I'll put 3 over here, 3 over here. So I'm putting name and email. You can just give a proper name, and I'm just doing with the numbers, okay, there. So if I just write now, so I'm getting the updated one. And so how to get an error? Okay, so I need to get response.error over here. So let me try this way. Instead of 1, I will put A. Okay, so I will just send it now. So I'm getting an error. Okay, so this is being sent because we have given the ID as a number, I guess. Okay, so as ID is a number, so we can't pass a character or a string over there. So that's it, I guess. We have successfully covered put operation by using Node.js and MongoDB, and I hope you would have found this video useful. I also done many other videos in C, C++, Java, Python, SQL queries, as well as 3D animation using Blender. So do check other videos of my channel, subscribe and support me. Thanks for watching.